Hi there. The score is red is 4 away and blue is 2 away, and red is on roll. And what's the cube action here? Should red double, and if red doubles, should blue take or drop? Okay, the quiz factor is a huge factor here. I'm sure many of you would double here. And I am sure that if you were playing over the board, you would miss this double, just as one of my students did, because it's pretty hard to see that red should be doubling here. In a money game, this would be a beaver. This would be a terrible double. At any normal match score, it's a terrible double. But at this match score, we should have a what we call a hair trigger, trigger finger on the cube when you're losing 4 away, 2 away. The possibility of gammon should really trigger the doubles, because when you gammon your opponent with the cube on 2, the gammon value is 1.0. You win the match. So you have a significant reason to be turning the cube in these positions. In highly volatile positions like this game is going to largely be decided on one roll. Quite often, if red hits here, he's going to win the game almost for sure, and win many gammons in the process. And if he doesn't get hit here, he's going to lose the game almost for sure, not all the time. And often when he loses, he's going to get gammon. So it's all about risk and reward. I could go through all of the detailed numbers, how many times you hit, but I'll tell you that you have a lot more good rolls than you realize. You have 11 fives that hit, but you also hit with a 2-3. So that's 13 numbers that hit. You also hit with a 2-4, coming in with the 2, and that's here. That's 15 numbers that hit. And you also hit with a double 2 by coming in here and hitting here. So 16 times you hit. Now when you hit, you don't always win, and you don't always win gammons. And when you don't hit, you don't always lose. As a matter of fact, I actually ran it. If you dance and blue's on roll, blue still wins only about 85% of the time. So even after you double and dance and don't come in, you're still going to win the game about 15% of the time. And of course, some of those times you might still win a gammon. But without doing a lot of deep calculation, you know that if you don't double and you lose a single game, it's 1 away, 4 away, you only have about 18% chance to win the match. And if you don't double, sometimes you get gammoned and the match is over. So if you don't double and things go badly, you're going to average being at about 9%. You're about half the time you'll lose the game, and half the time you'll lose a gammon when you dance here. And things go badly and you lose. So figure, even if it's 10%, you're going to be at 9% equity. But what happens if things go well and you don't double? If things go well and you don't double and you win the game, now it's 3 away, 2 away. And you only have 40% equity chance of winning the match. If things go well, winning a single game, and if you win a double game and win a gammon, you're at 2 away, 2 away, and it's 50-50 equity. But what if you double and you win the game? Then you're at 50-50 equity, and if you win a gammon, you win the entire match, you're at 100%. Well, one of the questions that my student asked is, how do you know that you're going to really win a lot of gammons here? He wasn't sure he wins that many gammons. Well, you have to make guesses in your best estimate, and the more often you make your guesses, the better off you're going to be. But one of the ways you can guess about how many gammons there are is to try and figure out how many gammons there would be if everything went well. Let's pretend that you came in and you hit blue, and what are your odds of picking up more checkers? You'll win lots and lots of gammons that way. If you put 3 checkers on the bar and you close the board, you can win gammons usually about 65-70% of the time, especially with some more checkers outside. He was also confused about how often he would lose a gammon. He didn't think he would lose a gammon that often. Well, again, there's a way to estimate that using reference positions. Let's pretend that blue ends up closing the board with this checker on the bar and these checkers on the outside. We do have a method for estimating those gammons. I use what the Rockwell formula. David Rockwell gave me a formula that works very well. And his formula tells me that if there's a checker on the bar and 1 checker on the outside that's 8 pips away from coming in, that's about 10% gammons. and each additional 4 pips adds another 10% gammons. So you can simply count pips and use David's formula. Here, if you were to get closed out, you have these are each 7 pips away from being brought in. That's 21. You have 23 pips on the outside. Well, the first 8 pips gives you 10% gammons, and that leaves 13 pips, which is approximately another 3 fours, and each one of those is another 10% gammons. So that gets you up to about 50% gammons if you are closed out and have all the checkers on the outside. Let's do that. Let's first of all, let's see the cube action here. It is a big double, and of course it's a big take, and it would be a 28% error to miss this double, and it would be a 77% error to drop the cube. So one of the reasons you double is you might get a drop. There's lots of people that might be afraid to take this cube at this score. I would think not, but most people, again, are going to miss this over the board. I don't blame my student for missing this until you've gone through these exercises and seen highly volatile cubes. But the real key to this, in my opinion, is what I tell all my students. At the beginning of every game, ask yourself what's going on with the score. What is his take point? What's his price of gammons? What's your take point and price of gammons? What is my checker play strategy? Right from the get-go, you should be playing this game like gammon go and gammon save with the opening rolls. And you should keep in mind that the second he's split and there's some real good chances for gammons, if you're the one who's 4 away, you really need to be turning this cube very quickly. And the player who's 2 away doesn't double for a long time. He knows that his opponent's take point is 18.5, so he shouldn't be doubling this game at all until he's real close to the take point of 18.5. So when you think about this at the beginning of the game, you're much less likely to get caught up in the excitement of playing and missing doubles like this when you really should be doubling. Okay, let's test Rockwell's formula. If blue were to close the board, I told you there'd be a little over 50% gammons based on Rockwell's formula. That's with a perfect bear-off, but this wouldn't be quite a perfect bear-off. But again, according to Rockwell's formula, this would be a little over 50%, and the answer is 54%. Not too bad. Let me show you how Rockwell's formula works again. Let's assume you have no open points, because that would add a little bit. If you have 8 pips to go to get in, plus a checker on the bar, according to David, this is about 8%, 10% gammons. And not close. It's not bad. It's about 12% gammons, something like that. It's an approximation. Add another checker with 4 pips. Now we're going to be close to 20% gammons. Wow. Right on, David. Add another 4 pips. We should be at 30% gammons. Bingo! Let's see if it works at 30%.